Hi there, everyone. Here's some of us heading your way tonight to your news at 9.
Water rescues were the name of the game for the Joplin Fire Department today, and the Jasper County Emergency Manager breaks down his top safety concerns for our current dangerous weather. That's coming up.
Something else that came with rain today, lightning. Going to talk to a man who got that surprise in his yard. Also, authorities search for a 12-year-old girl who was pulled under the waters of Shoal Creek yesterday. Doug Heddy has weather. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 410.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Storms are moving out. Floodwaters, though, still a concern. Meteorologist Doug Heddy joining us now with first look at the forecast. Some of those storms were strong, Doug.
Yeah, we had several severe thunderstorm warnings and then a lot of flash flooding across the region. At least the flash flooding issues are subsiding, but we still have some flood issues, the creeks and the streams. But look at all the rain that rolled through. Started late morning and then into the afternoon. Just periods of showers and thunderstorms, the heaviest along and south of the I-44 corridor. As of right now, we still have some showers, a few thunderstorms in our very far southern counties, but heading away from us. But look at the rainfall amounts, intense, anywhere from 3, 4, 5, 6, upwards to 7 inches of rain in spots along and south of the I-44 corridor. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this system and then look into the weekend here in just a bit.
Those amounts are incredible. All right, Doug, thank you so much. Today's weather brought danger to 4 state roads. There were several water rescues. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke with Jasper County Emergency Manager to learn what to do if you find yourself in a car trapped in floodwaters.
Thursday's heavy rains brought flood warnings and even flooded parks to Joplin. Former Joplin Mayor Melody Colbert-Keene couldn't help but pull over and take a look at the Landreth Park Dover Hill area, which was temporarily turned into a lake.
All my years of living here, I don't believe I've seen it flood like this before. I've seen the rain, I've seen it flood in places, but I don't recall it being this bad, and I've lived here all my life.
Flooded parks and flooded driveways typically mean flooded roadways, and today was no exception. Jasper County Emergency Manager Keith Stammer says the Joplin Fire Department had already responded to around 25 vehicle water rescue calls by 3 p.m.
Right now, we've not had any riverine flooding. It's all been aerial flooding, which has been okay with us. So it's been intersections that are very low and collect water, or it's been people who have slid off the side of the road into a ditch.
The emergency manager advises 4-state motorists to stick to the old adage of turn around, don't drown when approaching a water-filled roadway. But what if you find yourself in a car already trapped in moving floodwaters?
The conventional wisdom is get out. I agree with that because particularly you need to understand that that particular vehicle is going to the bottom, and which is not where you want to be.
Stammer also says motorists need to be alert to changes in the timing of traffic during their typical commutes during this round of severe weather. In Joplin, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
We've provided a link to the MoDOT map, which provides updates on road closures because of flooding. You can find it in this article on KOAMnewsnow.com. JPD says a lot of roads around Joplin are not passable, speaking about road closures, not only because of high water, but also because of trees and other debris in roadways. Some roads are outright closed, but police say the conditions in affected areas change moment by moment, so they're discouraging any unnecessary travel. Also in Joplin, a lightning struck a tree down a branch. There were no damages other than that tree, obviously. The homeowner tells us at first he didn't know what was happening.
Well, we were just sitting inside watching the storm come by, and we heard a noise outside and looked outside, and this big tree came down.
Wilson County, Kansas crews say lightning this morning sparked a tank battery fire south of Neodesha. A tank battery is a group of connected tanks that receive crude oil. A foam truck from Coffeyville Resources helped put the fire out. Thankfully, there were no injuries. People in the Joplin area have several options for shelter if the severe weather has them feeling unsafe in their own homes, of course. Joplin School District has community safe rooms at their schools, although the one at Columbia Elementary is temporarily unavailable. But what about wearing masks if you have to go to one? Jasper County Emergency Manager says keep things simple and just follow the rules of that safe room.
Number one concern is get people into shelter. Number two concern is masking, and that depends on a couple factors, one of which is the masking policy for the local entity that operates the shelter. The second one is your own concerns as well. You can't go wrong by wearing a mask.
For links to the list of community safe rooms run by the Joplin School District and their rules. Click on this article again on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. The search continues for a 12-year-old girl who was swept under the current in Shoal Creek yesterday. KOAM's Zach Dodge has been following the search, and Zach has the latest.
2 individuals had gone into the swift water and hadn't resurfaced.
On Wednesday, search and rescue crews were called to Shoal Creek north of Neosho. 12-year-old Kaylin Brown had been swept under the water, and 34-year-old Trevor Hicks went in after her.
They were able to get him resuscitated, and he was transported to Freeman Neosho, where he was later transferred to Joplin. His condition is unknown. He's listed in critical condition.
The search for Brown continued until having to be halted around 9 p.m. on Wednesday.
Water rescue and being in the water just isn't safe after dark. At that point, we believe it had turned into a recovery instead of a rescue. It's been way too long.
Thursday morning, the search continued, using drones and getting back into the water. That is until around noon, when severe weather moved through the area, halting the water search for several hours.
It's been a few years since we've done this. Of course, any time's bad.
Especially with our rivers and streams. Every time we get a large rain event, the water level goes up in our streams and the current becomes stronger.
That's why officials are encouraging everyone to stay out of the water if the current's stronger than normal, and always use a life vest.
It's the same kind of situation as a seatbelt. We say the same thing, make it click. Your life vest clicks, put those on. They work, so we need you to wear them.
In Neosho, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
The search was ended shortly after 1 this afternoon because of severe weather. It's going to resume tomorrow morning. However, authorities say the park is going to remain closed until Brown is found. Authorities make an arrest in connection with the escape of 2 Southeast Kansas inmates. They say the suspect, a 26-year-old woman, helped the inmates escape. She's now facing charges that include felony aiding a fugitive and obstructing justice. 2 escapees are still on the loose, by the way. They are Michael Marsloff and Mark Hopkins. Authorities say the 2 escaped through plumbing in the Columbus jail. Men are considered armed and dangerous. Hopkins was in jail in connection with a June double homicide, and Marsloff was held on felony narcotic charges. Anyone with information should contact the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Southwest Missouri couple agreed to plea deals for not getting medical attention for the woman's 3-year-old son. 27-year-old Sarah Garby of Verona pleaded guilty to first-degree child endangerment. Her boyfriend right there, Caleb Williams, entered an Alford plea to 2 counts of endangerment. The plea deals include participation in a 120-day treatment program. Now, depending on the outcome of that program, the couple could be released on probation. Kansas Highway Patrols say 2 people are dead after a head-on crash in Labette County. Authorities say 43-year-old Jason Hopkins of Parsons was heading north on US 59 when his vehicle went over the center line, hit Jennifer Fowler's vehicle head-on. Hopkins and Fowler were both pronounced dead at the scene. A passenger in Hopkins' vehicle was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Joplin police say a car sideswiped another vehicle on I-44 this morning. It happens near mile marker 11. Goodness, there were no deaths, thankfully, but 1 person was taken to the hospital. Their condition is unknown. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our 4 state heroes. Joshua Schrader served in the U.S. Army from 1999 to 2005. Native of Carthage, Missouri, Schrader won several medals. And we are proud to thank and salute Joshua Schrader. He's tonight's 4 state hero. Doug Hetty's up next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the Webb City girls soccer program aiming to move on to the Final Four for the first time in program history. Gonna have that story, of course, in sports.
Well, it turned out to be somewhat of a crazy day for us today. Very heavy amounts of rain, a lot of showers, a lot of thunderstorms, a lot of severe weather across the region. Thankfully, nothing tornadic, but we had numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't have any watches or warnings across the region now. We still have severe thunderstorm watch down to our south, but not including our area. And still some flash flood warnings in our southern counties, really from Table Rock, then over toward Pineville, Knoll, the Elk River, and then down toward Grand Lake. But look at the rain. I mean, this is crazy. Our northern counties, not that much, but once you travel farther south, you get into some really heavy amounts of rain. especially a bullseye right around Joplin, and then just near Afton, so on the north side of Grand Lake, right through Seneca, just south of Neosho, over toward Monette, just extremely heavy amounts. You can see this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches in spots. So crazy amounts of rain. Severe weather-wise, you can see we had a lot of storm reports. Now, majority of these are water reports, just due to how much water we got across the region. But we can go around and we can query some of these, and we'll show you the amounts of rain and how much rain so many areas picked up, but especially along and south of the I-44 corridor. We did have a little bit of wind damage, a little bit of hail, but most of these storms were just huge rain makers. Now, showers, thunderstorms continuing to press off toward the south and to the east. So our very far southern counties still getting some showers out there, but besides that, it actually turned out to be a nice evening. I've gotten a ton of pictures of the sunsets sent in, very orange, pretty sky, but we don't have to deal with this system anymore. It's heading away from us after it dropped a ton of rain. 3 inches at the airport on the north side of Joplin puts us at 20 inches for the year. Great time lapse, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri, showing you those showers, those thunderstorms that we have seen throughout the daytime hours. Temps mainly into the mid 60s. We look okay looking north along range line, currently outside 65. South winds 5 to 10. Humidity is still up there. Could even get a little bit of patchy fog, especially in the low-lying areas as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Maybe a random sprinkle or shower late tonight, and then eventually partly sunny skies tomorrow. Friday is going to be a great day as we kick off the holiday weekend. A little cool, but a great day. 64 by noon, a high temp of 69. Look at this. Tomorrow night, if you're heading out, if you're going floating this weekend or to the lakes, we're going to be into the 40s to start the day on Saturday, and then Saturday afternoon we should go upper 60s to near 70. So kind of a chilly holiday weekend, but a pretty good one. Thunderstorms likely on Monday. We're going to keep a very low severe threat on Monday afternoon, but we'll have to watch it. It may creep up on us a little bit over the next couple days, but at least it's going to be pretty calm. 69 tomorrow, 68 Saturday, 72 Sunday, 74 on Memorial Day.
And again, looking back, this morning's storms were really a blessing.
Yeah, getting the storms late morning, early afternoon stabilized our atmosphere this evening, and we didn't get another round of big storms.
I mean, that's something. All right, Doug Hetty, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much, as always. Coming up, deciding whether or not to set up a commission to look into the attack on the Capitol.
Friends and family of a fallen Capitol police officer are hoping to persuade GOP senators to back a commission to look into January's riot. Lauren Blanchard in Washington, why the issue may mean the end of the filibuster, coming up.
The number of Americans filing jobless claims continues to decline. According to the Labor Department, 406,000 people filed new applications for unemployment benefits last week. That was better than expected. It marks another week of initial claims hitting their lowest level since the early days of the pandemic. A critical vote could soon take place in the Senate that would establish a commission to investigate the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. Some Republicans are opposed to the measure, arguing there are already a few investigations looking into the security failures from that day. Democrats, however, believe the commission should receive wide bipartisan support. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard reports now from D.C.
I couldn't stay quiet anymore.
An emotional day for the family and friends of fallen officer Brian Sicknick, who died protecting the Capitol during the riot in January. They were on Capitol Hill to gather support from hesitant Senate Republicans to establish a 9/11-style commission to investigate the attack.
We really need to get to the bottom of what happened that day so that this never happens again.
Two other officers who responded to the riot joining the effort.
I think it's necessary for us to heal as a nation from the trauma that we all experienced that day.
Earlier this month, House lawmakers passed the bill with bipartisan support, although fewer Republicans than expected after House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and former President Trump came out against the commission. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell also is against it. Quote, I do not believe the additional extraneous commission that Democratic leaders want would uncover crucial new facts or promote healing. But moderate Republican Senator Susan Collins disagrees and is leading the push to get at least 10 Senate Republicans to back the bill.
We owe it to the brave men and women who defended our lives that day.
Now more than ever, Democratic leaders are looking at abolishing the filibuster, which requires 60 votes to pass legislation.
I can't imagine anyone voting against the establishment of a commission on the greatest assault since the Civil War.
But not all Democrats are in favor of doing away with the filibuster yet. Leadership believes if Republicans block the commission, it may sway more members of their party to getting rid of the rule. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Coming up, searching for a motive.
A growing investigation into a motive for Wednesday's deadly rail yard shooting. I'm Claudia Cowan in San Jose, California. I'll have the story just ahead.
The best. Import Warehouse.
Investigators are learning more about what led to yesterday's deadly rail yard shooting in California. This as we hear from family members of the victims. Fox News senior correspondent Claudia Cowan has more.
And the nurse came in because he was deteriorating. And she said, "He knows you're here. He's crying." And he took his last breath.
Tara Fritsch recalling the final moments with her husband Alex, who died from injuries suffered during a deadly rail yard shooting in San Jose, California. Fritsch, one of at least 10 people who died from the attack, including the gunman.
You think when your husband goes to work, he's safe, you know?
There's a growing investigation into a motive for Wednesday morning's shooting. Authorities say the gunman, 57-year-old Sam Cassidy, worked for the Valley Transportation Authority since 2012. According to his ex-wife, he often complained about unfair assignments at work and even talked about killing his co-workers, but she says she didn't believe him. Investigators and a bomb squad combed through Cassidy's house, which went up in flames shortly after he left for work.
If you look at his house fire and the time between when we got the call of shots being fired to the time the fire was reported, they were almost simultaneous. So he had to have set something at his house for the fire to go at the same time.
A makeshift memorial is growing near the scene of the massacre. Family members of the victims say they never thought this would happen to one of their own. A vigil for the victims and their families is planned for tonight at City Hall. In San Jose, California, Claudia Cowan, Fox News.
All right, coming up, if you have a few extra $1 million or something like that, you know, if you're rich and you got the money for an ultimate road trip picnic, Rolls-Royce has you covered. All right, so I haven't seen this either. A new luxury vehicle that's going to take your breath away. Take a look at this new Rolls-Royce dubbed the Boat Tail car. It features a back deck. Goodness. With cocktail tables, fridges, perfect for champagne, and even an umbrella that matches the car's baby blue color scheme. The vehicle was built by hand, of course, over the course of 4 years. The vehicle also comes with 2 timepieces specifically made by Switzerland's Beauvais 1822 that can either be mounted on the dashboard or worn on the wrist, just in case if you want to show people what you got. During the commercial, I asked people in the studio about their dream cars. Doug Heddy, you said Corvette. Nick Kelly, you said Lexus or Caddy? Caddy. Lexus or Caddy. Sean, behind the camera, you said Dodge Viper, right? Yeah. I'm going to be special. I'm going to say I want my own jet, you know? That way you can go more places. Have my own jet and my own island someday. Maybe never. It's good a dream. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to look at how a national chlorine tablet shortage is affecting area pools and pool owners.
We're all watching what we say and do a little more these days thanks to cancel culture. But what does that term really mean? And is it a good thing? I'm Steve Rappaport in New York. I've got the details coming up.
Chevy is first.
All right, so once that rain is out of here, chances are pool owners are going to have some cleaning to do, but a key chemical might be a little harder to find. KOAM's Bronte Sorosky spoke with local community pool owners to see how a chlorine shortage could affect the area.
Some pool goers could need to find another way to stay cool this summer. This is due to a nationwide chlorine shortage after a major chlorine supplier in Louisiana caught fire last year, and it could affect pools here in the 4 states.
Very good chance, on top of the shortage of lifeguards that we're already all experiencing, there's a chance that chlorine's going to run out and suppliers are not going to have any. And you may see some of these country clubs, some of these community pools, you may see them even having to close down early for the season.
Mike Gettle with the Joplin Family YMCA says they were fortunate to have bought their chlorine for the year before the shortage took effect, but a concern of running out remains.
You know, even though we've planned on what we expect need for the whole season, we could potentially run low toward the end. But that's where the real issue comes in, because it's so hard to find.
Gettle says this mainly affects outdoor pools because they typically use the tablets that are so difficult to find right now.
So we do have an outdoor pool that we operate, though. It's the Bulldog Beach in Carl Junction, and it runs on solid chlorine. But we had already bought all of it for the season, so we were in good shape there already.
While they're prepared for the summer, they worry should the need for more chlorine arise.
Yeah, if it's a really hot, sunny summer, you end up using more chlorine in your pool. And, you know, even though we've planned on what we expect need for the whole season, we could potentially run low toward the end. But that's where the real issue comes in, because it's so hard to find. Even though it's marked way up as well, even finding it's really a problem.
Although, indoor pools that don't use these tablets shouldn't be affected. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The YMCA also warns pool owners that using chlorine alternatives like bleach or other substitutes might not work as efficiently as the actual thing. A nationwide survey of emergency medical service agencies finds a 40% jump in the number of people who died of a drug overdose last year compared to 2019. The largest increases were found in minority populations, people living in poverty, and residents of Western states. Researchers point to pandemic-related struggles and a recent spread of synthetic opioids. Well, the term cancel culture means different things to different people, right? The idea of public shaming people or companies who do something offensive isn't new, but some say it's become more commonplace since President Biden took office. Fox News correspondent Steve Rappaport has more from New York City.
I'm too smart to have an opinion on cancel culture on camera, so I don't get canceled.
The term cancel culture is being used a lot these days, but what exactly does it mean? That depends on who you ask.
It's a bunch of, personally, it's liberals trying to shut everybody up that they don't feel is their way.
And who's responsible for it?
I would say like President Biden. Yeah, for sure.
The president found himself in the crosshairs of cancel culture when he supported baseball's decision to pull the All-Star game out of Georgia in protest of the state's new voting law.
The best way to deal with this is for Georgia and other states to smarten up.
Some people say it's a threat to free speech, and they claim it's been getting worse since President Biden took office.
Definitely with like rules or like regulations and stuff like that.
But others say Biden is not to blame, painting the practice as a generational change that's been amplified by the internet and social media.
I don't think it's any one person who specifically implemented the idea of canceling everyone. That's just something that we do.
The idea of large-scale public shaming when people or companies do something that people find offensive isn't new. But beyond the forced retirement of Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, it's having a big impact on American life, though it's still not clear if it will help build a culture of inclusion by emphasizing sensitivity.
Personally, I don't really care. You just have to be careful anyways what you say.
Ultimately, opinions about cancel culture vary widely and depend on whether you object to the person or thing being canceled, making it largely a matter of personal preference. In New York, Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
Neat story right here. Take a look at this. Honoring our nation's fallen heroes. Soldiers gathered at Arlington National Cemetery today for the what's being called Flags In Memorial Day ceremony. That's the time soldiers place small American flags at the grave sites of servicemen and women who are buried there. The event is done ahead of Memorial Day. Now listen to this. According to the Arlington National Cemetery's website, each flag is placed exactly 1 boot length from the headstone's base. If you look closely, the soldiers are using their boots. Officials say every available soldier in the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment takes part in the ceremony. The flags are removed after Memorial Day. A bit later, just in case you missed a certain event last night,
It's the rarest lunar event of the year. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with a very special view of a super blood moon as seen from around the world. That's coming right up.
At Ashley Home Store.
Well, it turned out to be kind of a crazy day for us today. Showers, thunderstorms, severe weather, flooding, rains, a lot of flash flooding across the region. And thankfully, we are pretty much done with this event from this point on. But we still have some high waters out there now that it's dark. Be careful to not drive in any low-lying areas that may have high waters. At least most of the flash flooding has dissolved. And severe weather is gone. Still severe thunderstorm watch to our south across parts of Arkansas, but away from us. Our southern counties still have some flash flood warnings. This is mainly from Table Rock Lake, heading over the Elk River and then down toward Grand Lake. But look at the rainfall amounts. This is extremely impressive. Once you get north of Pittsburgh, really under a ½ inch. And then once you get to Joplin, Neosho, Grand Lake, Monette, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8 inches of rain. You can look at the scale up here. It's extremely impressive. Right down 7th Street all the way out to the 249 loop, and then just south of Seneca, kind of peaks in southern parts of Ottawa County. This is extremely heavy rain all the way over toward Monette. Then on top of that, quite a bit of severe weather, especially along and south of the I-44 corridor. Most of these reports, these are mainly high water reports, as you can see. Flooding from Shoal Creek, and then we can check out a couple others. But you can see where most of the severe weather was, right along and south of the I-44 corridor. Thankfully, this is gone, but boy, we got a ton of rain with this system. Still some showers in our far southern counties, but all the big storms are heading away from us, which is good news, and we get to dry out just a bit as we go through the next couple days. At the airport in Joplin, north side of Joplin, even 3 inches of rain. Great time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Sunset was fantastic. We had this kind of orangish, almost pinkish glow out there. The sun, of course, reflecting off the clouds and the rain. Very pretty if you got to see that. Mid-60s right now. We'll continue to slowly drop off. We're at 65 south winds at about 5. We're still on the south side of the cold front, but these morning storms really helped us out, because what it did is it stabilized our atmosphere now, so we aren't seeing bigger storms across the region outside right now. We just have the clouds, maybe a sprinkler or two. Partly sunny skies for us by tomorrow afternoon. Kind of chilly, upper 60s for highs. We're going into Memorial Weekend. It should be well into the 80s. In fact, on Saturday, much of the same. Kind of chilly, upper 60s for highs. The weekend looks pretty good, the holiday weekend. We will start to get some rain chances in here late Sunday into Monday. Very low severe threat on Monday. Something we want to watch over the next couple days as it could creep up a bit, but we get to dry out. 69 tomorrow, down to 46 tomorrow night, so chilly. 68 Saturday, 70s return by Sunday.
Don't have to worry about watering things outside for a little while.
Yeah, it's a little saturated.
Doug Eddy, thank you. Hey, now's a good time to download the Skywatch weather app. If you don't already have it, don't forget you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store as well. Just search for KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, a new study finds a link between people who've lost consciousness due to a concussion and disability later in life. University of Pennsylvania researchers surveyed more than 7,000 older adults and found that those who'd suffered a concussion and lost consciousness when they were younger more frequently reported having difficulty walking or limits to the amount of work they could do. Coming up in sports, state baseball and softball tournaments begin in Kansas, plus the Webb City girls aiming to keep their historic soccer season alive and move on to the Final Four. Jacob Leonard has the story next.
The Frontenac softball team is once again back in the 3A state tournament. The Raiders begin their quest for a third championship in 6 years tonight in Manhattan. Frontenac up against Silver Lake in the quarterfinals this evening. A tough one here for the Raiders. They fall on a walk-off 7-6. to end the season with a 19-5 overall record. In the 2A bracket, Colgan takes care of business against Spearville 6-2. Panthers move on to face Mission Valley High School in the semifinals tomorrow morning at 11. The Colgan baseball team also in action in the 2A bracket tonight. Check this out. Their quarterfinal game against Valley Falls is still going. It's 1-1 going to the top of the 13th inning. Earlier in the night, just a nightmare game for Heston here in the 3A bracket. Frontenac beats Heston 17-3. They scored 11 in the first inning. They move past the quarterfinals. The Raiders play in the state semifinals tomorrow afternoon. The Webb City girls are still alive for a soccer state championship. The Cards will be in action this weekend in the state quarterfinals. Danny Terzer catches up with the team as they aim to move on to the Final Four for the first time in program history.
Webb City is breaking records this year, and they're not done yet.
For them to make history and multiple times throughout the season the way they have says a lot about their ability as players, but also their character as young people.
The Cardinals have earned a spot in the quarterfinal round of the state tournament, their first appearance in program history.
I think we proved the last 3 postseason games and all along throughout the regular season that we can face adversity and we can come out on top.
Right there, let's go. Double, 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 good.
We've been playing harder teams and we've been succeeding and I think growing a lot as a team.
Webb City topped Willard in the sectional round on Tuesday. After trailing 1-0, the girls battled back to win 4-2.
I think it's going to boost us and help us into the next game.
Senior leadership has made a big impact this year.
Without them, it's without a doubt we would not have the success that we've had this year.
We've all been around since whenever we won districts last time. I think it's we can all show the younger kids what it feels like and how hard we need to work in order to achieve our goals.
The theme this season has been to play for one another.
If we're playing together and unified in our approach to the game, whatever our strategy is, then we have a really good chance of coming out on top.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. That's good, Cree.
The Cardinals have a dominant 22-3 record, but it was in their win against Ozark, their first ever win over the Tigers, where they realized their potential.
I think that was, for the girls especially, the first moment in the season where they realized, hey, we could really go all the way.
Woo, nutmeg!
Webb City is just 3 wins away from bringing home the program's first state title.
I think for the girls, it's a really neat opportunity to leave their legacy, and for the senior group that has led so strongly from the get-go, for them to leave their mark on the community.
We've made kind of a big splash, and so I think we've got some expectations, but I think we're pretty ready to try to meet them.
In Webb City, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
Webb City gets a home game in the quarterfinals this weekend. They'll host the Union Wildcats on Saturday at 3 p.m. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Proudly support. It was truly an out-of-this-world event, but in case you missed last night's cosmic phenomenon, Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork has your special view of the super blood moon.
Folks from around the world coming together for an epic space spectacle. Wednesday marking the rarest lunar event of the year as the super blood moon rose high in the sky. This is the largest full moon of 2021, also called a supermoon. It's also the first total lunar eclipse in more than 2 years. Scientists say as this happens, the Earth orbits between the moon and the sun, causing the atmosphere of the Earth to filter the sunlight and cast a red hue onto the moon, giving it a blood-like appearance.
If you were on the moon and you could see this total lunar eclipse from the moon's point of view, the Earth would completely block the sun and you would see a lovely orange-red ring of light around the Earth.
Los Angeles' Griffith Observatory capturing the eclipse, which lasted roughly 15 minutes. Meanwhile, in Australia, people were simply left in awe.
You can see how the ancient people really thought that a god or some monster was really eating at the moon.
In Hong Kong, observers were just thankful that they could witness the event all together.
It's such a rare occasion. I'm glad that the virus situation has improved, and so we can come out to watch it.
And over in Greece, the moon was captured rising over the temple of Poseidon as the god of the sea got a personal view of the maker of the tides. Okay, trivia buffs, this is for you. Experts say a full moon in the month of May is also known as a flower moon. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Gonna take a look at some movies expected to come out this summer when we come back. Big movies on the big screen this Memorial Day weekend, and it kicks off a summer season full of blockbusters. Take a look at some of the most highly anticipated releases the next few months. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Superheroes, action franchises, musicals, and more are all heading your way this summer. Memorial Day weekend brings A Quiet Place 2.
It expands upon the world. It opens up showing us how the day that the monsters first arrived. And then it follows this family as they venture off to try to find a community of people that is out there.
Plus, we meet Emma Stone as Cruella.
It's set in the 1970s during the punk rock revolution, and it follows a young Cruella who is named Estella and her aspirations to be a famous fashion designer.
Washington Heights, the streets.
June has Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights.
It's rich, it's got memorable music, it's got a fantastic ensemble cast that's led by Anthony Ramos.
And F9 continues the saga.
It is gigantic. The action sequences in this movie defy all laws of gravity and logic. You just go with it.
July, Marvel gets in the mix with Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. And there's the Space Jam sequel with LeBron James. August has an R-rated Suicide Squad. Jennifer Hudson leads the Aretha Franklin biopic Respect.
Prior to her death, Aretha Franklin chose Jennifer Hudson to play her. And so this comes with her complete blessing. This movie will be a great honor to her life and everything that she sort of gave to us through her music.
Yeah. And it's game on for Ryan Reynolds' comedy Free Guy.
He realizes that he is a background character inside a video game and decides to try to save the day.
Listen to me, you're not real. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of tonight's sunset over Joplin from our tower cam. 7th Range Line in Joplin. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.